Ah, all right. There he is. Just
Hey, what
finishing
up,
a
my man?
drink. What up?
Hell yeah. Not finishing a drink, just getting into
Get
it.
into it. All right, fair enough. Well, thank you very much, Jay, for taking a moment, brother.
Obviously. Yeah, of course.
All right, so I just wanted to keep you up to date. I know I filled you in a little bit on Dylan's new nightmare, right?
Oh yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
so I
Always sliding in the DMs with something new. I like it.
trying to. Well, I appreciate the hype, brother. Like I like that you're into the project and stuff, so I'm happy
Hell
to
yeah.
share the
It's
deets.
super exciting to hear about. Like, especially knowing you for so long and then finding out that you're doing something this cool, obviously.
And the problem, like, well, not the problem. I'm like hyping it up on my channel. Like, you guys can't. I can't wait until you see what we're gonna reveal in October and
Hush
stuff. So
emoji, hush
I
emoji.
know. I'm super coy right now, but yeah, man, I got another little nugget about Dylan's new nightmare. If you're interested.
Hit me.
All right,
Hit me.
all right.
Hit me.
Sweet, sweet. So I got off the phone with Miko after like a 20-30 minute convo today.
That's awesome.
Yep. I'm sorry I paused to let you react
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
super
yeah. I
excited
get
about
it.
it. But I actually filled him in a little bit on I showed him the logo, which I showed you.
Yeah, yeah. I saw that.
And then I actually showed him some behind the scenes photos of the glove. I got a prototype finger for the glove.
Ooh, I want to see that,
Yep,
by the way.
yep.
Um, are you vlogging all this and stuff?
Oh, shit. Hey everyone, I'm Cecil Laird and welcome. You know what? Jay is right. For whatever reason, even though I've been making a YouTube show for the past 5.5 years, I had not thought to do regular updates, vlog style, as this project was going along until Jay brought it up. So here we are, I'm starting that, and I guess kind of unfortunately for you guys, that means it's going to be a bit of me telling you what's happened up to this point, and then from this point on it'll be more vlog style, but it's not really such an unfortunate thing because it's an interesting story, at least in my estimation. So this is the story of how Dylan's new nightmare came to be. This is going to be told in a multi-part vlog. I thought doing a behind-the-scenes vlog after Jay mentioned it was a fantastic idea, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I decided ultimately on a multi-part vlog because this story is a long story and I can be verbose. So this is the first part of said story. So to understand where Dylan's new nightmare came from, you have to understand a bit of where we are and where this right here, the horror show, came from. We have been doing this show on YouTube, as I said, for about 5.5 years. We started in January of 2014, and we decided we wanted to cover anything and everything under the horror umbrella. So producer Dave first approached me to create this show. I had a much bigger idea than the one he presented to me, and that's what we ended up going with. And we brought on Susie Von Slaughter, and then we brought on Jaime and Fuego, and then Marsha Parker, and now that is where we're at. We currently present about one episode every single day, but over the course of that 5 years, we've made a number of connections. One of the things that we ended up starting to do was covering horror conventions. And the very first one that we went to was Mad Monster Phoenix at the time. Mad Monster Phoenix in 2014. And this was a little horror convention that was in the central Phoenix at a small little venue. And it ended up having a lot of people there, including Elvira, where we ended up getting our very first station ID.
Hello, darling. I'm Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, and you're watching The Horror Show.
But that was just one of the many awesome people that they brought in the very first year that they came to Arizona. So year after year, Mad Monster would come to Arizona, and every year we would be there to cover it and present episodes to you guys. And about the third year or so, there was an issue with another YouTube channel that was just extraordinarily disrespectful while covering Mad Monster AZ. And after that happened, after they were booted, we actually finally met the person behind Mad Monster, the people behind Mad Monster, and he explained his concern and his issue, and we explained how we would never be that issue for him. And he basically said, well, maybe this is a good thing. Maybe what happened with them while a bad thing then was ultimately a good thing because now we have you guys, and we became the official press for Mad Monster. And from then on, we have been the ones covering the panels, at least in Mad Monster Arizona, until 2019. Then we branched out a little bit, but we also would cover the celebrity interviews until they just grew so much that there was no time to interview celebrities because there were constantly people talking to celebrities, which is a sign of growth. It's awesome. But that is how we got into Mad Monster, and that leads to the next part of the story, which is Mad Monster Charlotte 2019. But before we actually get there, I have to say that while we were doing the show, one of the things that we covered was something that came out in October of 2017, and that is a little fan film. I say little in quotations. It's a little fan film by the name of Never Hike Alone, produced and directed and written by Vincent DeSanti. And he made a stellar fan film that has been the benchmark ever since. It's a Jason fan film. It's the best one that, in my estimation, has ever been made. I'm a bit partial, of course. But he showed that fans can make installments of franchises that can be on par or even better than some other installments that are official of those franchises. And then the very next year, in October of 2018, another fan film dropped by the name of The Spirit of Haddonfield, which was written and directed by Rene Rivas. And he, when I saw that, we reviewed both it and Never Hike Alone, but we reviewed The Spirit of Haddonfield, and from the get-go, I said that it was one of the most beautifully shot movies that I'd seen in recent history, fan film or not. So I had tremendous respect for the shooter, i.e. Rene. And so that also showed, I was like, man, look at where fan films have come. I mean, Never Hike Alone opened the door by actually inviting Tom Matthews from the original franchise back to reprise his role as Tommy Jarvis all these years later. Look at what can be done in fan films. This is incredible. And so I started to think to myself, if I was ever going to do a fan film, what fan film would I do? And, you know, my top two favorites are Freddy and Chucky. Chucky seems too hard. I don't have a Chucky doll. I don't know anyone that can make a Chucky doll and make it do what I want to do. I wouldn't have the first idea how to approach a Chucky movie just yet. Just yet. Plus, I'm actually supporting the Tony Biz Charles fan film on Indiegogo. So that's probably already in production by the time this comes out. So I'm excited about that. But I didn't want to touch Chucky. I am okay with the idea of coming up with a cool Freddy idea. And I was when I first thought about this. So I was like, okay, if I'm going to do one, it's going to be Freddy. Where is the best entry point? And then I saw that Mad Monster Charlotte was coming up in February of 2019, and that they had actually booked none other than Miko Hughes to be at the convention signing and taking pictures with the fans. And Miko Hughes, if you don't know, played Dylan Porter in the original Wes Craven's New Nightmare. He also was in the original Pet Sematary as Gage Creed, the kid that dies. He was also in Mercury Rising as Simon, the autistic boy, and I've loved that performance for years. He was also even in Spawn as the alley kid, and he's been in a number of things all the way back to Kindergarten Cop as well, where he said boys have penis, girls have vagina. So I saw that he was coming to Mad Monster Charlotte, and it just so happened that this was going to be the first time that we actually went out as a show to cover Mad Monster Charlotte and help film the panels and everything like that. So when we did, I decided that I was going to do the interview for Miko Hughes. Usually it's Jaime and Fuego as a part of the channel that does the interviews, but I decided I wanted to interview Miko, and I was going to slide a question in. So let me go ahead and show you what that question was right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
If someone ever came to you and said, because actors from the original films, again, Never Hike Alone had Tom Matthews from the original series.
Nice.
The 13 Fanboy fan films getting a ton of original actors for that thing.
Yeah.
If someone ever approached you and was like, hey, I have an idea, let's call it Dylan's New Nightmare.
Wow.
Where,
That's a wild thought. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously.
It depends on how it's done, but
Yeah.
it's a fun idea.
If it's
yeah.
a right script kind of thing?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say no. I would read a script for sure.
It just seems like a natural thing.
Yeah.
I mean, Freddie, why not? Why wouldn't he have escaped in Dylan's head, and then years later he's been ruminating in there, and that kind of thing.
That's fun. Yeah,
Kinda
you
cool.
never
So-
know. There's so many paths you can take, and if it's done creatively and well written, yeah.
So that's right. You can see that even then I had already come up with the idea for the name, Dylan's New Nightmare, and I just tried to play it off, but this was a long-term plan. So I actually asked Miko during the interview what I asked, and he responded how he responded, and so I was like, okay, file that away. If you ever get the opportunity, make sure you write Dylan's New Nightmare, but I had not done so yet. So I come back to Phoenix, the show comes back, we produce all the episodes and all that stuff, and we continue on making more episodes month after month. And it's just kind of in the back of my mind, that's something that I'd want to do, write that Dylan's New Nightmare script, because I think it could be fun, and Miko seemed like he was on board, so if the opportunity ever arises, sure, I'll do it. And then I saw that Mad Monster, once again, by the way, that's why I'm wearing this shirt, because none of this would have happened without Mad Monster. But then Mad Monster announces that, hey, Miko Hughes is coming to Mad Monster, Arizona, 2019. And that was in June. And I saw this announcement a couple of months in advance, and I'm like, oh, crap, okay. So I need to actually get this done. So when I saw that announcement that week, I sat down and I wrote the first 9 pages of the short film that would eventually become Dylan's New Nightmare. And the first 9 pages I thought were really good. I didn't know quite where to go from there, but the first 9 pages were really good, so I showed it to a couple of friends. I showed it to Fuego, I showed it to producer Dave, and even producer Dave said, hey, this is probably good enough to get Miko on board, just show him this. And I'm like, no, I want to make sure it's a more substantial thing. And so I kind of left it at that. I knew I had to go back and add more, but I didn't. And then a couple of months passed, and all of a sudden it was the week of Mad Monster, Arizona. It was the very Monday when the convention, we were supposed to go and set up our booth on Thursday. So it was the Monday of, and I'm like, I never finished this thing. So I sit down to finish it, and at one point I realize I'm writing, and I'm just writing. The way I normally write is I'll close my eyes and I'll watch the story play out in my head, very much like a movie. Even though the story hasn't existed before, this is just how my brain works. So I'll watch the story play out in my head, and then I'll write that scene, and then I'll watch more of the story play out in my head, and then I'll write that scene. That's how it works. So but this time I was just writing to write. I didn't know what I was writing. I didn't know where I was going, and I'm like, this isn't good. So I had to literally stop and take a moment, take a whole night, as a matter of fact, and really think about the idea, really think about why this would be happening, why Freddie would be coming back through Dylan, and all of this stuff I just had to really iron out. And over the course of a night, I managed to do so. And the next day I sat down and I wrote the rest of it, and it came to 20 pages, and I was actually quite happy with what I'd come up with. There was stuff that tied in more with the past. There was stuff that was a more logical step forward, and I was just really happy with where it was. And I was like, okay, I'm ready to go. So Mad Monster, Arizona rolls around, and that's where the next big step of the project comes out, when I end up presenting the script to Miko. But that's where I'm going to end part 1, you guys. I think that's as far as I can go in episode 1. I don't want to take too long with this, but this is just the first part. So if you're watching this on the crowdfunding campaign, thank you very much for stopping by and watching this far. There will be further episodes of this over on the YouTube channel, tracking the progress of this project as it goes along. But I thought this was a nice solid background for everyone wondering how the idea started and how it all came together. That's how. So thank you all very much for watching. And until part 2, stay scared.